Watching the ET Money Show, and it's time for Tech Tuesday. We're going to talk about wearables today and how it can up your fitness game. Join me to talk about everything related to this particular segment that is burgeoning is Dhruv Bhutani, who is the editor at Android Authority. Thank you so much, Dhruv, for taking the time as always. Good evening to you. And I think a lot of people turn this conversation into the Apple Watch versus everything else. So I'm going to start with a conversation for the Android users first. What stands out as the best wearable to buy right now for an Android user?
That's actually an interesting question. So as an all-around smartwatch, I would say it's actually just the Samsung, the Galaxy Watch. That's the only real option for Android users around the world. Like no matter what phone you're using, as long as it's running Android, that's the only real option if you want a smartwatch. But Google is expected to come out with the Pixel Watch later this year. No idea if that's going to be making its way to India, but that is definitely one to watch out for as well.
Okay, but what stands out with regard to the Samsung offering? Why is it better than everybody else?
So here's the thing. All the Android smartwatches, they run Wear OS, which is Google's smartwatch operating system. Now, over the last year, it's been going through a major upgrade. And Google decided to go back to the drawing board. They're working with Samsung directly to bring this huge upgrade. And as it turns out, the Galaxy Watch is the only option on the market which is running the latest version of the operating system. So everything else is running on an older version of the operating system, nor is it guaranteed to get any of the upgrades, which in my books makes it the only real option for any prospective buyer.
Okay, now there are a few very specific watches that are meant for activities like running, for example, because I've heard the Garmin being talked about as a specialist running watch. Is that not something to consider?
So I'm glad you brought that up, Alex, because there's a common misconception, like there's a bit of a difference between fitness watches with smart capabilities and smartwatches. A smartwatch will, for example, let you install apps. You can download, say, music from Spotify. The Garmin can do that, but not every fitness watch can do that. A fitness watch is predominantly designed for fitness. For example, Garmin watches are incredible for running, and we've got some options over there. If you're not looking at the absolute high end, anything, for example, the Garmin Instinct, which is sub 20,000 rupees, that's a fantastic option. And you can even go, even more down the budget. Xiaomi's Mi Band, that's technically a fitness watch as well. Fitness smartwatch, because you can get notifications, but you can't really do that much with the notifications. Now, when you get to the smartwatch side of things, for example, with the Galaxy Watch, you can call up Google Assistant. You can use onboard smarts to, say, control your smart home, and make payments, etc., etc. Like it opens up a whole lot of options and opportunities for things to do which are not possible with watches which are predominantly geared towards fitness.
That's a very fair point. The final question, Dhruv, relates to Apple users. Is it a no-brainer for an Apple user to just simply buy the Apple Watch? Is there nothing better in the market?
I mean, let me put it like this. As far as smartwatches go, I wish Apple would support the Apple Watch on Android as well. It is an incredible piece of engineering, and it costs a lot, but it's worth it. My only word of advice, for prospective buyers, don't buy the third generation Apple Watch. That's practically on its way out. Apple is not even going to upgrade it with the next operating system, the next update. So don't look at the price tag for that. Just give it a skip. The Apple Watch SE is a phenomenal deal for 30,000 rupees. And if you really want to upgrade to the cellular version, you can do that. But unless you really want to go all Dick Tracy, like making phone calls on the go just from your watch, it doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense for most buyers. And of course, there's the Apple Watch Series 7, which has all the bells and whistles. It goes across price categories, but the predominant difference is just the kind of watch strap that you're going to get with it, and the materials used. You can have titanium or you can have stainless steel. So you pay a little more for the privilege of having a watch in titanium. But other than that, on the inside, it's all the same across the board. Your only two real options are just GPS or GPS and cellular. Um, I would say save the money, just get the GPS variant, and you're good for practically whatever you want to do with it.
I think this has been a short but very useful and insightful
Yeah.
conversation. Dhruv, thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, I mean, it helps that you only have two real options on the market then, right? Doesn't it?
That is true, but I think a lot of people will benefit from the advice that you gave with regard to the Apple Watch and, of course, smartwatches in general. Thank you so much once again for taking the time.